So great to see you, Anthony.
Yes, and I went to the Katz's of Tacos.
Oh, yeah, you did.
I'm Anthony. Welcome to No Vacancy Live. That's my friend Glenn.
You're watching the #1 show in hospitality.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to No Vacancy Live. That's Anthony Melchiori. I'm Glenn Hausman. And yes, it's Taco Tuesday. If Anthony is talking about the Katz's of a special place there in Las Vegas. How you doing, brother?
Yeah, so what's the name of that place?
Tacos El Gordo, across from Resorts World, my favorite taco joint in the city.
So I'll be honest with you. I sent you a picture. I was in there because you mentioned it. I happened to be walking past it, going to the Resorts World. And I did not, the line was too long. Unlike Katz's, it didn't go fast. So I left. So I never had a taco.
That's really a shame, but they are absolutely delicious. But the problem is, and it's like going to, I don't know if Nathan's and Coney Island is still like this, but I remember back in the 70s and 80s when there were a lot of them everywhere, you'd have to go this aisle for hot dogs. Then you have to go over there for French fries. It's the same thing at Tacos El Gordo. So you got to split up your group. You got to prepare. You got to have an action plan if you're going there.
Yeah. You have to have an action plan. And you can get brain tacos.
Yes.
Did you?
Yes, they have tongue
tacos. And I made sure I was on the beef taco line. But then I was like, the line's not moving. So I left. But I look forward to going there. But it was exactly like Katz's, just newer, cleaner, and but it was
also and also probably not as many Jews, but
and it was very, it was very local. It didn't look like there were a lot of tourists there.
Yeah. And also one of those places, Gino's Cheesesteaks is like that. Producer Dave's actually backstage, and he alerted us of this important factoid. So that's pretty good. And a pretty good segue, Anthony. We got a great guest today. You excited for today's?
One of my favorite people.
Yes. He may be retired from one of those big fancy hotel companies, but he's out there still. We're talking about Mike Stengel is joining us today. It is so great to see you, Mike. Welcome back.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good. Last time you were on the show, we were celebrating your retirement.
Yep.
What was that? That lasted about 30, 40 minutes?
Well, 2 years ago, I was retired for about 3 days, I think. Yeah. Then I filed for an LLC, and then so that then went off to the races.
That's awesome. So, Mike, you're out there. You're doing consulting right now, which is a lot of fun. One of the things that we do is we talk about the early parts of people's careers, but what's it like making that transition from doing a job at Marriott for so many decades to suddenly having all of that free time and then becoming an entrepreneur in your own right?
Well, I think the worst thing is not having a secretary. Learning how to make a plane reservation, a hotel reservation,
right?
Keep your schedule. I mean, that part I really, really miss about Marriott. Although I love the company, we had tremendous resources. You become reliant on yourself as your own resource. And one thing I learned is I had a lot of customers coming to me that wanted to do business. Mm-hmm. And I had to decide what business did I really want to pursue. So in the meantime, if you guys remember, Steve Heitzner used to be chief marketing and sales officer for Marriott. I helped him get into business as an LLC and gave him his first customer. And Balan Paraventiva, who worked for me in Marriott, got him set up and got him his own customer. Joe Koza got him his own customer, and George McNeil. So what I found was good for me was finding stuff I didn't want to do and giving it to people who want to do it and are qualified to do it. So just keeping the customers that really are in the business that I want to be in.
Hey, Anthony, hold on 1 second. Producer Dave wants to say, Mike, could you tilt your camera down just a little bit so we could see a little more of you? All right. Beautiful. Anthony, take it away.
Thank you.
Thank you. So first, before we go forward and talk about what you're working on today, why don't you just give a quick 30-second overview of what you've been doing for the last X amount of years? So people, because not everybody, I know it's hard to believe, but maybe not everyone's familiar with you.
Yeah. So I spent 40 years with Marriott, 40 great years. And the last 10 or 12 years, I was responsible for the Gaylord brand. And I ran the convention and resort network for Marriott, which consists of about 160 hotels at the time. And I reported directly to David Marriott. And it was a great run. During the pandemic was probably the worst time because you spent all your time on the phone, closing hotels, making deals with owners, laying people off, which was not very much fun. And I had given David a year's notice that I was going to retire. I had no idea that it was going to be the pandemic year.
Right.
So I stayed on and helped the company get through it, and then retired right after that first year.
So where are we with big convention hotels like Gaylord? After coming out of the pandemic and with group travel, where maybe groups aren't as big, although being in Vegas, there are a lot of big groups.
Yeah.
Where is the Gaylord brand in those kind of hotels?
Well, during the pandemic, just before that first year, we shut down every Gaylord, and we kept the Gaylord National was closed for the entire time, almost 2 years.
Yep.
And what was great is they were able to renovate the hotel. It's probably never looked better than it does today. But coming out of it, you started out slow with the catering side of the business, but corporate business came back fairly strong, and then you started to get your associations back. And now, as Mike Wainwright told me a few weeks ago, is that Gaylord's at an all-time high in booking pace, and the amount of room nights are on the books. And this project that I'm working on with the ownership group out in San Diego has come out of the ground, running full speed. I mean, booking numbers at the level of what the Gaylord Colorado did, the Rockies did in their first year of booking business. So it's really been terrific.
All right, let me just clear some stuff up. Give a little facts to the audience out there. So, of course, Mike is talking about a brand new Gaylord hotel. He was working on that prior to retiring, and has been brought in on the consulting side for the Gaylord Pacific coming in 2025. You might know the original Gaylord Opryland, Gaylord Palms, Gaylord National, which you mentioned outside DC, Gaylord Texan. In Grapevine, of course, Gaylord Rockies, the most recent addition from, was it 3-4 years already? Maybe 5 at this point?
I want to say it's about 4 years.
Right,
and has done been really successful.
That's fantastic. I'm really excited about this project in San Diego that you're working on right now, because it's one of those projects that I'd been hearing about for so long. So to finally see it going vertical is pretty amazing. So, Mike, why don't you describe the project? And Dave's going to bring up some really cool footage of what's going on over there.
It's typical Gaylord. It's not exactly in San Diego. It's right next door in Chula Vista. This is the San Diego Bay. This picture here is about 2 weeks ago. The project's about 1,600 rooms, over 2 million square feet.
Wow.
Going to have a fabulous water park in the front. This middle here is facing the water. That's the parking garage to the left, the gray piece. The convention center will be in the back there. There's a big marina. You can see there's a big marina across the street that's being renovated. This whole area is a great redevelopment project. And when you look out across the water, you're looking at over there is the Coronado Island, just across the way. So it's a spectacular location, really self-contained. And then there's a lot of infrastructure being built around it with other hotels and shops and restaurants and apartments. None of that's happened yet, because this is the anchor for this location. We started working on this actually was being worked on by Ryman before Marriott bought Gaylord. And we've been working on this for about 12 years.
Right. And just so they know, Ryman was the name of the company that owned Opryland and the Gaylord brand that sold to Marriott. Please continue, Mike.
Yeah, and Ryman owns all of the Gaylords. They bought the Gaylord Rockies as well. So the owners of this particular project was the original owners of Rockies, Rita Hospitality out of Houston. They owned the Houston Marquis. They owned the Hilton in Orlando, and they love these big projects. And Ira Mitzner asked me to come on to kind of be the liaison for the project with Marriott. And so I've been working on it for about a year and a half. And we put together a sales organization and opened the sales office and broke ground. And I'm out there once a month, and project is really going to be tremendous when it's finished.
Yeah,
so
Anthony?
you touched base a little bit on what are you consulting on? Like what does that look like? Do you get involved in the plans? Are you talking about the operation side as well, or are you just focused on the sales effort?
Well, it's funny, all of the operation side and the plans and the design and all that stuff I worked on for 4 or 5 years in Marriott. So a lot of that was done. We were going to break ground on this, by the way, before the pandemic. And then the pandemic came, Vegas went on hold, this went on hold. And so all of that behind the scenes work was being done with Marriott and Rita. And then I came back on just about a year and a half ago and re-engaged in the project. But John Adams, who runs the Gaylord brand now, is really responsible for all of what's going to happen from an operational standpoint. And my main goal with this project is to get the sales organization up and running, get the numbers on the books, stay on track with the construction and work through Marriott to get the operational side kicking. So, for example, we're going to be posting a general manager's job for this hotel. John's responsible to source that general manager, but the general manager candidate will come through me to go through the ownership group.
Yeah.
And what's been the biggest change since the pandemic with Marriott, as far as being a liaison between the owner and Marriott? Is there a big organizational change? Because I know there were a lot of people that had left because early retirement or something else.
Well, the Gaylord team is the same team that I left. Same finance, same sales. Even John was my general manager at Gaylord Opryland. So on the Marriott side, I'm real comfortable because I know every one of these guys. They were all my team. The hardest change for me is I sit on the other side of the table now.
Yeah.
So I have to make sure that my interest is making sure that the owner is getting his fair share of their time, as well as making sure that I'm being the voice between the two and help coaching Marriott through the process.
You sound like a former senator who's now a lobbyist for a major organization.
That's right.
Yeah. But that's really interesting. And I love this whole theme of that second act in your career after having 40 successful years, to be able to make that transition and do something from a different point of view. So while you're still able to use all of your expertise and experience, you get to do it from a different angle. Yes. And that seems kind of fun.
It is. It's, getting involved from the ownership side. We sit and go through the construction meetings on a monthly basis and talk about the pricing and what we're buying and how we're sourcing product, because this project has grown financially significantly. I think pre-pandemic,
of course,
it was about 800 million. Now it's about 1.3 billion. And
so you could get like half a sphere in Vegas for that. Not bad.
Yeah, that's right. But it's we're really pleased. The same people that built the Gaylord Rockies, same construction team, is building this hotel, which has been great for us. We got a good relationship with them, and we're on time and on budget. And Ira and his team, they run a really, really lean and mean organization, and they love these big box projects.
Yeah. We got a couple. Anthony, go for it.
No, I was just going to ask, what kind of business is this hotel attracting? What's your segmentation?
What's interesting is we have several 100,000 room nights booked already. Uh-oh. I just went blank on me.
That's right. We can still see you.
Oh, you can. Okay. So we have a good solid rotation business amongst the other 5 or 6 Gaylord hotels.
Right.
So
let me just explain that real quick. One of the philosophies behind the Gaylord brand is to provide place for groups of different sizes to go each year, because you don't want to have your event every year in Orlando.
Yeah.
So by having the same types of facilities in different parts of the country, in different regions with different feels and views, it makes it really appealing to a lot of meeting planners by simplifying their life. Sorry, continue, Mike.
Yeah, and then the other piece is, Anthony, is in California business for California is one of the markets.
Fascinating.
And then West Coast share shifting business from Oregon and Washington State and the western side of the country down into who wants to come to San Diego, who don't want to be in the convention center. What's amazing is I think I just learned last week that we only share about 10 or 15% of our leads with the city of San Diego, because San Diego leads are about the convention center and multiple hotels. Ours are primarily self-contained leads that have slight overflow, but they want to be in the San Diego marketplace, but they want to be in the hotel, not the convention center.
And one of the fascinating things to me is that you're able to have such a great business. And I look at Orlando as the consummate example of that.
Yeah.
That was a massive convention center, and then we'll see that and raise it a whole other one of that size.
Yeah.
Then you come in with the Gaylord Palms, and that's a massive facility over there and constantly full as well. Plus, you got the Marriott World Center as well down the road. Yeah.
What's great about this market too is that we're in a market that is a great leisure destination. This is the best leisure destination of any Gaylord. So we're making sure that we're putting the right group business on the books with the right pattern. You don't need a budget group on 4th of July weekend, because you're going to be filled with all kinds of Southern California leisure business. This is being built as there's a great water park in this project. And I know that David, I sent him some artist renderings of some of the different parts of the hotel, but it's really got some great leisure components and great food and beverage components in it.
All right, so let's see that video right now. Dave's bringing it up over here.
That's a patio. It sits about 2 stories above the pool. You're looking at the bay. That back there in the background is the Old Hickory Steakhouse.
Yep.
And there's a huge bar in the lobby. Really a nice when you walk in the front door, it's all glass and you can see right out into this particular area.
That's beautiful. All right, next picture. Inside.
That's from the front desk looking out.
Wow.
We have the same roof on this lobby as they do the Minnesota Vikings stadium.
Oh, wow. That's pretty wild. So what are they going to do for a roof now that you have it?
Yeah. Same people who built this hotel built the stadium. And we like this roof. It keeps the sun out, but it also lets a natural light in. And so you'll be able to stand there. This is the lobby bar area looking out into the bay. And then this is the sports bar. It's 2 stories high. Cool. It will have a slightly bigger flat screen than the one at the Rockies. So in essence, it have the biggest sports bar screen in the Gaylord brand.
Wow, that's pretty wild.
But Mike, let me ask a question. Is this near the airport at all?
No. This is 15 miles from the airport. So you come out of the airport, just go south to Chula Vista. Right past. If you look in the background there, in that picture, go back to that last picture. In the background there, that's San Diego right there at the top of the screen. And it's by boat, you can get there in about 10 minutes. By car, it's about 20 minutes. But this is the water park that's all self-contained, water slides. There's an adult pool. There's a kids pool. There's 2 or 3 food and beverage outlets. And it's all in front of the bay. If you walk across the street, there's a beautiful park and the beach is right there. It's really all self-contained. So it's got great, nothing like this. First of all, it's the biggest hotel in the United States being built right now. Wow. And there's nothing like this in California or will be in California because it takes so long to develop these projects. We don't see anything.
This has been in the works for 11 years.
Yeah.
Now,
11 years,
Yeah. Projects like this take an extraordinary team from all parts. Because, like you said, these things don't get built overnight, and there's a tremendous amount of money. A lot of companies, if it's $800 million and all of a sudden starts to be 1.3, you hear a lot of these kind of stories go bankrupt before it even opens.
Yeah.
And somebody comes in and pennies on the dollar gets it open.
Well, Rita has an interesting way that they do business. They always put their own money into these projects, and Marriott does as well. Well, and when you do that, you have the capital stack lines up pretty quickly. They have very, very good loyal investors that have been with them for years, and same 4 or 5 bank consortiums that participate. So we were able to get financing on this thing pretty strong and pretty quickly to make this thing work.
That's really good news, Anthony.
You know, and when you talk about the capital stack, you know, a lot of people don't really understand what that means. But just explain it without boring everybody, kind of how a project like this gets funded by many different capital partners.
Yeah. Well, you go out there and you meet with a bunch of banks, and you know they all compete with each other. But in a deal like this, they're all sitting at the same table, and you say, okay, there's $800 million that we need to fund. We're going to put $200 million, and then Bank of America says they put $100 million, and you know Sumitomo Bank says they'll put $100 million. So that's filling the stack. So when you get to the top of the stack, you got to have all $800 million, or you can't move forward. So you know, making sure that you have a solid group of banks that are going to support this, and making sure that they're raring to go. And you put it all together. That's the capital stack. It sounds easier than said than done.
No, it's incredibly complicated. Is there a construction loan?
Well, the way this works is Rita is basically funds the project from day one. Our capital stacks in play, so it's. You know, we're paying out the construction through that stack. So in essence, it's not really a loan. I wouldn't call it that, but it eventually it is. It flips into when it opens, it flips into a loan.
Right. That makes sense. So one question that I thought was really interesting that we have is Anthony and Mike, jump in on this one too. How do operators even begin to get ready for this type of opening once construction is done? What is that process like? Now, I've been at some major, amazing Las Vegas casinos that have opened, and I see just the last couple of days of what's going on, but it must go on for months, right, guys?
Oh yeah, years. I mean, but Mike's been involved in a lot of these kind of projects. So, Mike, why don't you kind of tell them how long it takes to really get the sales team, the operations team, you know, especially in this environment, in this market, I'd imagine you guys are being very creative of how you hire and also different types of jobs. And I'd imagine that the time it opens, that there'll be some sort of AI in some parts of the hotel doing a lot of some of the like the clerical work, the work that you don't like, Mike.
Yeah. Well, you know, one of the things that when you approach a business like this, the first thing you do is the vision gets put down on paper, the design gets done, the format, what kind of restaurants you're going to have, you know, what's the ballrooms look like, how do they divide? You get all that out of the way. And that's what I did when I was with Marriott. And that's what John is continuing to do as we move forward. We just built sample rooms in the sales office out there and with a sample hallway. So that's been done. And Marriott and Rita will approve that together. And then you get into the staffing. You start out with director of sales and is your number one priority. And then you build that sales team. And this sales team has been in place now for about 8 months. We're fully staffed. And I would say 100% of the team came from Marriott and 80% of them came from other Gaylords. So you hit the ground running with the different markets around the country, and you begin to lay out all of the first and second and third and fourth year business that you want to book and where you book it. At the same time, you have a revenue leader that comes on property at the same time as the salesperson to manage that process. And then the next part comes space people to make sure that you're allotting the right amount of space for each group, and then destination sales managers who are going to be there for tours during the when you do the when you actually start doing hard hat tours, you have destination salespeople there. So that's the start of the project. And then the next will be the general manager, and then comes operations. And about a year out, we'll have pretty much the entire staff, other than some of the lower level management positions on staff. And then 6 months out, you begin the entire hire process. Wow. So there's a step that you take all the way through. And Marriott does a great job at following that process all the way to the days of task force.
Yeah, the checklist to open a property like this is about probably 6 million. I'm not exaggerating.
There's a lot of stuff.
Maybe 600 trillion pages.
Yeah, you can't. Don't forget the toothpicks. Don't forget the chairs in the restaurant. I mean, there's a laundry list of
for each space, there's got to be a giant list.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Just the OS&E, the office supplies and equipment list, that will give you a nervous breakdown.
And not only that, is Anthony, during the pandemic, a lot of the vendors have shifted. I mean, we used to buy furniture from China. Now we buy furniture from Vietnam, or we're getting an escalator from Ecuador. There's all these other places. And by the way, the really great news about this building is there are a lot more opportunities for American companies are providing the majority of the construction material for this is coming out of the USA. Yeah, which is great.
Yeah, that's really great to hear. And I think that's the kind of message that people want to hear right now, particularly if you're trying to sell conventions and you've got hundreds of thousands of room nights, you said already. So the team is working really well, but they've got to be able to sell that vision. They've got to be able to sell what it's going to be, because it's a real leap for meeting planners sometimes to, buy something that hasn't yet been built. So it's cool that you have this full rendering walkthrough that Dave's got here to show us as well.
Yeah, the easiest customers are the ones that know Gaylord, trust Gaylord. They know what you're going to build. They book right away. It's the new customer. Yeah, this is going in through the front door. So you kind of get an entrance right there on the left. That's the steakhouse just to the left. And then you walk into the main lobby here. You can see that's where the Minnesota Viking Stadium is. And then over here to the right is the front desk. And then stepping down is this gigantic, and it's broken into about 4 or 5 areas of lobby bar. So when you're doing a lot of events there, you have an opportunity to split people up. There's a big wall of water, and then on the other side, that's a big cube is a television.
Wow,
you can see it's a video screen, and you're looking out at the bay. You're sitting about 5 stories above the ground here. As you look out that door there, you're looking if you look down, you'll see the water features, or you look straight out, you see the bay, and you come out on this outdoor patio, and then you look over that railing is where the water features are. So there's really great. One thing you got in San Diego is you typically don't have to worry about weather.
Yeah, I know.
great outside space. This is the patio on the 3 meal a day restaurant, and going down to the sports bar has an outdoor patio right here as well.
Wow, that's great.
And then that's an outdoor restaurant. The roof you just saw out there, that's going to be a freestanding restaurant. Not sure who's going to run it yet, but we're working on that process now. And then this is the front of the building facing the water, which you can see. There's a public park outside of the water park. We're outside the landscaping. There's a lazy river and
cool. Is there a performance facility there too? It looks like what's that building?
There's a stage on the on the wave park.
Yep.
So that's that. I love how the construction guys actually create those videos for us, and the drone shots every week.
Every week, that's pretty great to see the construction progress through the drone shots like that.
Well, we're not allowed to have a permanent camera to videotape, but I don't know why. We got different interesting rules.
Because that's good. That's what California does.
Yeah. So we have a drone that goes up every week and documents the construction.
That's pretty awesome, Anthony.
So if we can back up a little bit, when you're talking about revenue management for a hotel this size, how do you do dynamic pricing when it comes to the food and beverage component as well? And I know that's kind of grown over the years because a lot of these big facilities got to that party a little late. But how does that work when you're talking about dynamic pricing for not just the rooms, but the entire property?
Yeah, so we don't get into pricing restaurants or bars this early, but John and the team will take that on maybe about a year out, along with the general manager. But we are pricing catering, and what we do is, Anthony, you just price things as continental breakfast, full breakfast, hot lunch, buffet, just the main terms. And then what we do is we look at what are the other Gaylord's pricing structures for those particular items, and what is the marketplace in San Diego's prices, and we build a fair pricing model based off of just the basics. So we'll know that if you're bringing in a group of 1,000 people and you're coming in 2028, we'll know that the catering is going to be anywhere between $100 or $200 a day per person, and we build our revenue model like that. And we sell to the customers like that too, so they have an understanding of what pricing they're going to have when they come into the hotel. That's what revenue management's working on from day one, to make sure that the salespeople have the tools to tell the customer what pricing is going to look like.
Thank you,
Fantastic. I love it. Mike, any final thoughts before we wrap up for today?
Well, this has been a really interesting project. Like I said, this is my main customer. I have a few others, but I joined a couple boards, and public board. I'm on Mama Mancini's Meatballs out of New Jersey.
Nice.
They're a great company. In the last couple of years, they bought a salad company in Long Island, an olive company.
Cool.
And what's been fun about it is I'm learning a lot about the retail business. So it's been great.
That's great. Now that's a spicy meatball. I want to be able to. I want to be able to say that a lot. That's for sure. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Mike Stengel, we'll see you hopefully before then, but definitely sometime summer 2025. Let's do
California. We'll get you a tour of this place. We'll do a show from out there.
Oh, dude, I'd love that. Thank you so much. See you soon, Mike. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye. Man, so great to see our friend Mike again, isn't it?
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah. Anthony, any final words before we get out of here for today?
No, sir.
All right, everybody. Remember, you've got one life, so blaze on and
be kind to yourself.
See you back here tomorrow, one and all. Bye.